sermon. It's your time. It's your time. Okay. Having been in Capernaum before, in the text we discover Jesus making a return visit. It is here where during his first visit to the city that Jesus showed up in the synagogue and taught with an authority that amazed all who heard. But this authority by which he taught not only caused demons to cry out and be cast out, but it also caused the sick to be healed. And also it caused the word on the street about Jesus to spread rapidly. All right. Just like when you and I first got saved, well, when you could not wait to tell somebody to the utmost that Jesus saves, we could not hold it in about the wonderful change that had come over us. And so we went out telling anybody that would listen that our lives would be different since Jesus came in. All right. And just as he became known everywhere you went, he also became known in Galilee, and this made his ability to move about freely in the city increasingly difficult. And so he moved to more remote places away from the city. However, people still searched all over, looked high and low, until they found Jesus. And now in our text, we see that after some time has passed and the buzz of Jesus' first visit to Capernaum has died down, that he returns to the city. But this time, he doesn't show up in the synagogue. He shows up in the house that some theologians would say belonged to Simon Peter. However, as theologians wrestle for the relevance of knowing who the house belongs to, I believe that there's a greater opportunity for us in discovery by knowing not whose house, but what goes down in the house. Therefore, in the first two verses, we are informed that as the presence of Jesus in the house was text, tweeted, that it took no time at all for a crowd to show up and fill the house. But now that the house is filled and while church is going on, 4 friends show up carrying a paralyzed friend. I think you missed that, okay? I said 1, 2, 3, 4. F-R-I-E-N-D-S, Sesame Street. You'll get that by 3 o'clock. You see, they all came together, 4 friends, to bring this brother into the house because they knew that Jesus could do something about his issue. All of us need to do a friend check every once in a while in the bar because if we're hanging out with people who can't help us with our issues, then we don't need to be around them. You don't need people who see you in your condition who will leave you in your dysfunction. You and I need some people who will see us in our struggles, see us and need help, and be willing to give us that help that's necessary. You don't need somebody who will say, come on, let's go to the club, let's go to the bar. You don't need someone who will say, let's go shopping, or let's go out to eat, because that's not going to help you with your issue. You need somebody who, when you're going through it, say, let's get to Jesus. That's right. That's right. And so these 4 brothers, they show up, and their mission was Operation Get Their Friend to Jesus. Y'all got some friends like that? And nothing was going to stand in their way. Now, that's the kind of friends you need that won't let anything get in between them and you getting to Jesus. So they got to the house and they saw it was impossible to get in through the door. They saw it was hard to press through the crowd. So their faith said, let's go up on the roof, where they proceed to tear open and let down their friend. Can I make a point right there for you? See, Sister Jean, I discovered that sometimes in order to get to Jesus, you got to tear through some stuff. You got to tear through some frustration, tear through some hurt and disappointment. You may have to tear through some failures and some things that you never thought would be in your way. But if you want to get through, I promise you that if you are willing to break through to get to Jesus, you'll find a blessing on the other side of through. And here it is, because of their determination. In verse 4, we find this paralytic laying at the feet of Jesus. Now here lay a man who couldn't have made it there without some help. He couldn't have got there without somebody caring enough to see him before the presence of Jesus, to see a change come in his life. And what happens is, because of his situation and needing some help, it also does something else to him. it caused some challenges to how he saw life and how he experienced it. Therefore, what I'm saying simply is that how he sees life and understands life is because of the condition that kept him experiencing all that life had to offer. You and I are similar to that. We've got some things that have kept us from really living life to the fullest. We have some heartaches and some heartbreaks. We've got some past issues that keep showing up in our present and they keep disrupting our future, that keep us stuck in a place where we are, and how we see the world and how we experience the world causes us to accept things as they are. And as I studied this text and I looked at this brother's situation, I discovered in my prayerful pondering that we, just like the paralytic, have some different views about the world, and we've had some from before being saved, and we still see those issues show up after we got saved. And that's where I had my problem with it. Brother, I saw it in the text that here this brother lay before Jesus, and he's at the feet, and Jesus looks at him and says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." But how this man saw the world, how this paralytic understood the world, was still the same. Okay, you missed it. You came to Jesus as you were, weary, wounded, sound. You found him a resting place, and he has made you glad. But guess what? You still ain't got a job. You came to Jesus. You got saved. You gave your life to him, but you're still lonely. You came to him, and you still having some time where your mind is telling you no, but your body is telling you yes.
All right.
You see, we fail to realize that even after we got saved, we still had some issues. And that became a problem for me because I couldn't understand when I got saved why I still got issues. And I believe that sometimes that's why I keep some people from getting saved, because they don't realize that there is a difference before being saved with issues and after being saved with issues. And then some people just show up because they want some evidence, some proof after being saved to show up immediately. And so they're looking for the materialistic opportunities to show up. They're looking for those opportunities to say that now I'm saved, I should have the man or woman I want in my life. And so we came to Jesus not with our priorities in the proper order, understanding that he would meet our spiritual needs first. We came to him looking for our physical needs. And then we discovered that it's not about the cash, the condo, the clothes that we would get, but however, it's about the understanding that to the utmost, Jesus saved. And so there in verse 5, I began to see the issue of how this paralytic was still experiencing the same thing even after being saved. And I had to ask the question, Lord, why is it that this man who has come to you, his friends, and you saw their faith, and you've given him forgiveness of sin, but he's still the same? He said that's because I was not ready to do what I was going to do through him. Oh my goodness. You see, sometimes we come and we want things that happen when we want them. But I'm glad that God does not work on our time, but he works on his time. Amen. And since he works on his time, he was prepared to do in this man's life what needed to be done at the right moment. And if you look at verses 6 through 8, we'll discover that, because there we meet these folks called the scribes. You know, these were the local religious subject matter experts and who were in the house sitting in on Jesus. You know those religious know-it-alls, those who know about 5 or 6 scriptures and only know part of them and can't give you the part after the comma. Those who think they knew enough about your situation to start questioning your situation. And so the text tells us that they started to ponder in their heart. You know, I'm sure you know some folk like that in your life that scrutinize, criticize, and analyze who you are, and then you tell them you're saved. They look at you and they say, You know those so-called friends of yours, co-workers and family members, when you told them that you gave your life to Christ, that the person you were is no longer who you are since Jesus came into your life? It's those same people that you told your life is now under new management, and the things you used to do, you don't want to do anymore. And just like the scribes, they sat back with their arms folded in their hearts. They said, prove it. And I found myself right there, verse 6 and 7, kind of having a problem, because here these scribes have so much to say about what Jesus does in this man's life, but they never open their mouth. You missed that. You told somebody you were saved, you want to tell them about the goodness of Jesus Christ, but all they did was look at you and say, See, they didn't have much to say about what was happening in your life, but they had a whole lot on the inside to discuss. And so they're sitting there and they're having a conference call with their conscience, and they contemplate whether or not Jesus is able to do just what he said. And I'm so glad that Jesus waited a while in this brother's life, and he waited a while in our lives, and he wiretapped their conference call and heard them trying to call him out, as I say, and prove it. And he proved it, he did. Because he proved it when he suffered and bled and died. He proved it when he carried the cross up Golgotha Hill. He proved it when he was nailed to the cross, suffered, bled, and died. And he proved it when he got up with all power in his hand. And because Jesus is able to do something for your life, he is able to do something through your life. And now it's your time. In light of the fact that Jesus says that he has the authority to not only speak into our lives, but to work through them to evidence